Hello. Excellent. Hey, welcome everybody. I'm Phoenix Rising Star, and welcome to the Hathor Activation Meditation. This is the live version. Oh my goodness. We have been doing this for almost a year, I believe, in this format. And during that time, the Hathors have been taking us very slowly in wonderful baby steps to let go of the old and to create the new. And of course, if you've been following that, then you understand that these are fifth to 12th dimensional high consciousness beings who are here to help us to live our highest destiny. So, all along, I've been thinking that we've been working mostly with our personal journeys, but only in the last couple of weeks have I figured out that, oh, there's more here, of course, because not only are we here for our personal journeys, but we're also here for our global journeys. When we sign up to be in this life, we sign up to do both, right? That we're here for whatever it is that we wanted to learn, but we're also here for a greater purpose, for the greater good. And if you had a chance to be a part of any of the earlier activation meditations where we were talking about how many of us are feeling called to be a part of the new earth, well, I think we're starting to see how that might look. And certainly there has to be a little chaos before we can create the new beginnings that we're all seeking, but we are starting to also see some of that. So if you are on the front lines of this in this crisis in the world, then my deepest gratitude is to you for having the courage to step into that. If you have suffered losses of friends or family or jobs or homes through this, then my deepest condolences to you. I do believe that there is a greater good that is coming from this, and I believe that we are starting to see some of it. And some of it we won't realize for a long time, more than likely. But, you know, already people are reporting clearer skies, clearer water, less pollution, and less emotional toxicity in the environment. The global footprint, you know, the carbon footprint has been diminished in a relatively very short amount of time when we've been talking about it for years and haven't been able to create this kind of change. We have communities coming together to help people in their community. And so, you know, these are really positive changes that we want to see in our new world, and we know we can make them continue. So if you are called to a more global new beginning at this time, then congratulations. And if you're not, it's not that there's something wrong or something that you're not doing right. It's just, you know, there's a timing for everything. But I believe that most of the people listening to these meditations are being called to step into a greater level of leadership than ever before, whether you understand what that means or not. And certainly our Hathor friends can help us to have that better, deeper understanding. They can help us to heal whatever comes up around that that might keep us from stepping into a higher level of leadership. And certainly we have other helpers, spirit helpers that we can call on at any time. Angels, archangels, ascended masters, you know, spirit of love, light, whatever. And so I encourage you to stay in touch with your spiritual helpers that have your highest good and healing as their intention, because I believe we will be relying far more on them in the future than maybe ever before. Because another thing that has come out of this so far is a deepening spirituality and quest for the real person within each of us. Churches are offering online services, but they're getting far more people than they've ever had through the doors. You know, and it's not just through churches, because it doesn't have to be an organized religion type thing. I'm just using that as an example. More and more people are turning to meditating. More and more people are turning to that inner guidance, and beginning to trust it, and which is part of what we're doing tonight. When you take a look at the topic, going with the flow while knowing you are guided, this is a very profound topic. It sounds very simple, as many of the Hathor topics do. It sounds like it should be so easy that now, okay, we're seeing what we're seeing, and here we are at this certain place, either in our personal journey or our global journey, and so we'll just go with it. Well, that's easier said than done many times. And you'll notice that there's actually two parts to today's topic: going with the flow while knowing you are guided. Now, I found it interesting that the phrase is knowing you are guided. And when I talked to the Hathors about this ahead of time, there's a difference between you are guided versus receiving your inner guidance or tapping into your inner guidance. You feel that difference? So you are guided implies that there's something outside of ourselves that's greater and more knowing, more omnipotent than we are, if you will, that has a greater degree of love and understanding and compassion and everything else, that has a bigger picture perspective that we don't have. And in these times of uncertainty, when we don't know how long things are going to be going on like this, we don't really know what the end result is going to be. We can guess, but we don't really know. There's so much uncertainty, and it's really nice to know that we are being guided by something that does have a better, bigger picture for us. And so that's a level of comfort that I think that we can take from this. But what is also evident to me, the more I studied the topic and the more I talked to the Hathors about it ahead of time, is that we have to be able to receive that guidance before we can go with the flow. Because otherwise we don't know what go with the flow means. Because it sounds like you're just kind of bobbing in the water and going along wherever the water takes you, but it is so much more than that. So let's take this apart and kind of dissect it, and then we're going to have the Hathors help us step into this topic for tonight, either personally or globally, or both, whichever works for you. So, knowing you are guided, where does that guidance come from? So, I invite you to hold on to the belief that that guidance that you are receiving is for your highest and your best. That's the only kind we want to receive. That's the only kind we're open to receiving. We don't want anything else, because anything else would simply be a waste of our time and energy, and we don't have time and energy to spend on that in that playground right now. This is kind of urgent for us, okay? So we only want the highest and best guidance. And so when it comes in, you have to know how you're receiving your guidance so you don't miss anything, right? So you have to understand how you receive. And some people are very visual. So you'll see things, you'll see colors, you'll see symbols, you'll see figures, it's just, it can be anything with your inner eyesight that shows up for you. But not everybody's visual. I am very auditory. So I have incredible conversations in my head, but I understand with my heart that they are coming from a higher place. It's not just the voices in my head, right? And then there's a lot of you that are knowers. You just know things, and you don't know how you're knowing things. You just know that you're knowing things. And there's other people that feel things in different ways in your body. So you have to know how you receive in order to not mistake or miss any of your guidance. So when it comes in, it may not make any sense to you, because this is the other thing. Your guidance has a bigger picture than you do, right? We don't know everything. We think we do, but we don't know everything. We don't have that bigger picture perspective. So when something comes in, it's really important to go with the flow with it, right? So just for an example, a week before it was announced that we were in a global pandemic, I I work with high-level angels. I work with them every day, and they are my guides. And so when they said you need to let go of your clients because you need to go through, we're going to help you restructure your business so that you can meet the needs of more people in a more meaningful way. It made total sense to me. All of this came through my heart, even though I was hearing it. because I'm auditory, but I discern it with my heart, and that's what I invite you to do. Discern all of your guidance with your heart. If it feels right in your heart, it's right. Now, there was a time when I used to argue a lot with the angels, and I would say, no, I don't want to do that. That doesn't make any sense to me. But I am fortunately pretty much beyond that. At least I say that now because I haven't been tested fully, but but this one I just knew was right. So I started the process of letting go of my clients. I said, we'll get together again in September, but right now, this is what I have to do. It didn't make any sense. And even 10 days later, when we got the word that we're in a global pandemic, I still didn't quite understand it. But in the last week or 10 days, I've really started to understand that now the world's in a different place. And my work, which my desire and my life purpose is to serve. And so that needed to change in terms of how and what and to whom and what I was doing with them. And I get that now. And I'm so grateful that I listened when I did, because I feel like I'm already starting to make a bigger difference to more people doing what I am guided to do. So when it comes in, the whole purpose of saying all that was to give you a real life example of how when your guidance comes in, it may make no sense to you whatsoever. That doesn't mean you can't follow it. And I'll share with you a couple of things before we go into our meditation tonight. The Hathors certainly can help you with trusting that guidance, to discerning that guidance with your heart. Because remember, your guidance is coming into your heart. It's really not a part of your logical mind. So, of course, your logical mind is going to say, well, that's really ridiculous. Why would you ever do something like that? When your heart is like, yeah, that's totally right on. And so, one of the ways to help you with that discernment is just to close your eyes and ask, how does this feel? Does this feel like it could be the right thing, even if I don't see how or why or what I'm doing? Does it feel like it could be for my highest and best? And if you can say, yes, it could be, then you can sit on that and you can observe it and you can see what happens as you are in the flow, right? It's a lot deeper than we think it might be, but it's not as hard as your mind might make it sound. So just kind of suspend disbelief for a moment as we talk about what does it mean to go with the flow. So going with the flow also it might not be logical because honestly, going with the flow is whatever is the next step that you need to take in order to make that guidance happen, right? So if it's all starting with the heart, again, it may not be a logical step. One of the things that I think is really helpful for starting this whole process is just take 5 minutes at the beginning of the day and just say, what is one thing, just one thing that I need to either take action on or I need to do or know or to follow on today? Just one thing. Because chances are that one thing is not going to distract you from all the other 100 things that you have to do, and it won't take away, and it won't cause harm. It's just you're approaching this in a more playful standpoint. You're saying, what's just one thing? Just tell me one thing. And then you allow yourself to receive it in all the ways that you receive. And then you just kind of observe for the rest of the day. You observe if you're like me, I usually have a long list of all the things that sometime during the week are going to get done. Well, sometimes those things get checked off and sometimes they don't. Sometimes something new completely comes in. Like today, I thought I was going to be working on 5 different things. I haven't touched one of them. I ended up working on one thing that I hadn't even thought of until I asked that question this morning. What's the one thing I probably need to be doing? And I'm still working on it. It's okay. It's perfect because I felt like I was in the flow. And that's what will happen for you too. You'll feel this sense of completion when you finish it. And if it's only one thing, then there's your day. You have the rest of your day to do whatever else you want to do, or the other 100 things on your list. So it may not make sense. You may not do the things that you think you're going to be doing, but you are there because there's a sense of completion and there's also a sense of drive. It's like, no, I've got to be doing this. Half the time during today, I was spinning my wheels a little bit, saying, I really have these other things I really need to be doing today, but I kept coming back to this one thing. And then I realized why I was coming back to the one thing, because it was the one thing I needed to do for today. So you're going to start playing a game with yourself. What's one thing I need to do for today? And follow it and observe it and see what happens when you're in that flow. Keep a journal of it, because what you're going to find is every day as you check off these things that you are guided to do, you're going to find that, oh yeah, that I'm really glad I did that. That was really good that I listened to that, or that I understood that, or that I knew that, or that I felt that, or that I accomplished that. That I can see why that was so important. A journal will help you to see it faster, because we tend to forget things, day by day, because we have a lot of things going on, even if we are working from home. So you're going with the flow while being guided and knowing you are being guided. So it's that sense of being loved and supported, and kind of this higher power telling you, giving you the ideas of what to do that are in alignment with your personal journey and your global journey. And then being in the flow of creating that, doing that, taking that next step, whatever that step is, even if it's just a little tiny baby step, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how big that step is. It can be tiny. And it doesn't have to be everything at once, right? It's a flow. So today I'm doing this, tomorrow I'll do that. Today it just goes from there. So tonight, when we're working with the Hathors, of course, you're going to be starting from that place of love. If you've done this before, you're starting from that place of love. We start everything from a place of love, because that helps us to step into a higher perspective, a bigger picture, a global picture that maybe we don't have otherwise, and a sense of peace. That's the other important thing it gives to us. It's a sense of oneness with all life everywhere that just helps us to be a part of the bigger, newer picture, if you will. So we start from that place. We welcome in our Hathor helpers, and heart to heart, you are connecting with them heart to heart, because the heart is the place of discernment for what is right for you. And when they connect with you, they may be helping you on your path of receiving your guidance, or understanding how you receive your guidance, or knowing what that guidance is that you've been receiving, or being more clear about it. They may help you with the act of being in the flow, or going with the flow, and understanding what does that really mean for you. They may help you with healing all kinds of things, like mental belief systems that might put the brakes on and say, but I can't do this. Because we all have that, right? It's just a fear thing that comes up, but it doesn't have to stop us. And so sometimes the Hathors will come in and help heal those kinds of things. There may be a dozen things that they do that I haven't even mentioned, because you're unique and you have a unique relationship with them, and they're here to help you on your path, either personally or globally, or both. So it's all I can tell you is it's gentle, it's loving, it's kind, and it's high consciousness, because they're operating at levels way beyond where we are right now, because we're in the third dimension. If we've got a body, we're in the third dimension. Our consciousness may be moving around in different dimensions, but our physical body's in the third dimension. So I invite you to be open to work with them, to allow them from a state of love to help you in whatever way will help you to reach your highest destiny, because that's what it's all about. And then at some point, after I get you into that state of love, after you're greeting lovingly your spirit helpers, your Hathor helpers for tonight, you're going to have your rich experience. And at some point they'll say, because it goes pretty fast actually, but at some point the Hathors will say, okay, we're done now. And so I'll say, okay, it's time to now integrate what you have just received to the best of your ability. Because many times in this heart-to-heart transmission that you're receiving, it's like there aren't any words, because the words are more from the brain and the heart doesn't need any words. but the words will come because the brain will begin to integrate the experience with your heart. So allowing that integration time can help that the words to come, and they will come over the next 24 hours or so. You know, they'll be there for you. You'll have a knowing of what transpired and what to do with it. And then at the end, you'll hear the Zen bowl, which will indicate that our meditation is complete for now. I thank you so much for being a part of this and for really making the effort to be here today live and to listen to the recording. And I thank you for not only starting and continuing your personal journey of highest destiny, but our global journey. I firmly believe that we all signed up for this to be here at this time. And it was no accident that we started working with the Hathors ahead of time so that we could help create this new planet, this new Earth. We're on our way, you know, we're on our way and you're part of it. And thank you for that. All right. I'm going to stop my video, and I encourage you to stop your video as well so that we can just use our time with our eyes closed and not be distracted by any visuals. And allow yourself to get really comfortable in a place where you can either lie down or you can sit. And it's okay if you fall asleep. I hear from a lot of people that say, you know, I don't know where I went, but I have no idea what happened. And that's okay. That just means it's all happening at a very deep level for you. And that's perfect. That's really perfect. And if it doesn't happen at a deep level, it's also perfect. It means that you needed to be conscious of what was going on. You will have the perfect experience regardless. So, wow. So just allow yourself to get really, really comfortable. Allow your breathing to become slow and rhythmic at a rate that works for you. And at first, it can seem kind of like, oh, I'm trying to slow this down where I'm so excited to be here. But it really does slow by itself. And what you're doing with that slower breath is you're triggering your body and your mind for deep transformation and shift and change, because that's why we're here. That is why we're here. So eventually that breathing will slow into a rhythm that works better for you while still transmitting that message of transformation to all parts of you so that every cell is in alignment with this. And first, we're going to start by just getting ourselves into that deep, loving state. It is the foundation for everything that I do. And to do that, I invite you, if you have memories of unconditional love, the kind of love that does not judge and does not hold conditions in any way, shape, or form. If you have any experiences with that, whether it came from a person or an animal, I invite you to remember those experiences. And if you don't have those experiences, you might have had that experience in a different way. Like maybe you had a spiritual epiphany that was so profound, so moving, it just changed your life forever. And so I invite you to remember that experience or those experiences. Or maybe there was a time when you were out in nature and it was just you and the trees and the bushes and the birds and the flowers and the animals and the fresh air, and all of that just was so heart opening. You just felt so at one and at peace with all life everywhere. And you may have other experiences in which you felt these feelings, that oneness, the peace, the love. profound transformation. And so just utilize those experiences and bring them into your heart. In fact, there's a tiny energetic heart space that's located behind your literal heart. It's a very sacred place, and everyone has one. And I invite you to just put your awareness there. For many, it can be like a really sacred room or a temple. For others, it's a great place outdoors, maybe around a fire or under the stars. So allow it to be what it is for you as you begin remembering those feelings of love and peace and connectedness. And love is something that once we open the doors to it, it will not be denied. So once we open the doors, it just starts coming in and coming in and coming in and coming in, to overflowing from our heart space. And when it overflows all the way through and into your physical body. And it's just like when you pour a glass of water, you're pouring in and it's touching the bottom of the glass and filling up from the bottom to the top. And that's how love is with you. It's filling you up from the bottoms of your feet to the top of your head. And it's touching every physical place with love. And eventually that will also overflow. And now it's overflowing into your spiritual layers. For our purposes, we refer to 4 of them. Starting with your physical layer, which is a memory of all your physical experiences. And as you're filling with love, all those memories are being touched with love. Filling you all the way up to the top and overflowing into the next layer, which is your emotional layer, the memory of all of your emotions and emotional experiences. And all those are being touched with love as you are slowly filling up with love. Filling to overflowing into the mental layer, the record of all our mental beliefs. And as you're filling with love, all those beliefs are being touched with love. And filling to overflowing one last time into your spiritual layer, which is a record of all lifetimes, all experiences, and all of them are being touched with love. And now it's like your entire energy sphere around you is being filled with love. And this time we'll just ask it to kind of stay within you, like a cocoon of love, or a nice warm ball of love that's just wrapping itself around you. And it feels so good. This is our natural state of our soul. So the more you can come back to this place, the more you are returning to you, who you really are. This is where you come when you are feeling uncertain or fearful or worried, concerned. And if you want to come back here really quickly, just place your right hand over your heart. And that will anchor in this love so that when you need it, you just place your right hand over your heart and you always have it. You'll be right back into this place. And at this moment, you may start becoming aware of your Hathor helper friends in however they appear to you, whether you're seeing them with your inner eyesight, or hearing them with your inner ears, or having feelings or knowings within your your body and your energy field, or all the million of other ways that we perceive energy, and feel the love that they're sending you. This is a heart-to-heart transmission from their heart to your heart. Feel it coming in. Sense it, know it, seeing it, hearing it, whatever way you perceive. And just allow yourself to receive it. Allow it to move through you and make it yours. And then when you're ready, you can send it right back to them. It's like an acknowledgement. Thank you for sending me some. Now I'm sending it back. And you're taking that in and watching and observing in all of your senses, and you know that they are receiving it. And they're amplifying that love before they send it right back to you. And you are receiving that amplified love, and you're feeling it in a more intense way, or sensing it in a more intense way, because it's bigger. It's not too much, just more. As that moves through you, you can then send it back to them when you're ready, because your heart-to-heart transmission is now complete between you. And if they haven't already started, they may be sharing with you more information, more insights, more awarenesses, more healing, whatever it is that you need at this time. And I'll be really quiet while you are receiving exactly what you are meant to receive. And just know you'll remember everything that you need to as you continue to receive and interact with your helpers. And taking a minute or two to begin integrating what you have received. And even if you're not quite complete with it, it will continue long after we're complete here. And then you can integrate. Namaste, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making a difference.